It's grey, it's wet, it's the middle of February, but that's not going to stop me. I've got a few little jobs that I want to do today in the garden, altering this area here in front of me. So without further ado, let's get started. So this is how the garden area looks at the moment. And you can see that on the corner there's plenty of grasses, but I think that corner is missing just a little bit of height and a little bit of colour. I don't really want all green there. Now, the Yucca Rostrata, that's turned out better than what I was expecting. And I'm really loving that area there with the stones. But behind there, you'll see, is the rhododendron. So I think that's going to come out and put it somewhere a little bit more sheltered. So I'm not going to buy any more plants. I've got plenty of plants already around in the garden. But I'm just thinking, what can I put in that area there that's going to love the sun? Now I have got a lovely phormium down the other end of the garden. And down there I've also got a Photinia red robin. So I need something that's going to add a little bit of height into that area. So I'm going to go around now and see what I can move from other areas of the garden to make this area look a little bit more appealing. So moving around from the other side now, you can have a better view of the rhododendron. And that's looking really lovely. There's plenty of buds on it, but I think it's way too exposed where it is. And if I just spin around down the garden path, there's that lovely red robin. Although I think that one is a Photinia Carré Rouge, so it's a little bit smaller. Now one part of the garden that I don't like is that plant there. It doesn't really do anything for me at all. So I think that's going to come out. And I think that could be an ideal place to put the rhododendron. And it's going to have plenty of shade there underneath all the other plants. So I think I'm going to get my spade and get straight into that now. So the rain has held off enough now for me to get a little bit of planting done. So even though it's been raining, I'm just going to go around and give what I planted a good water. And then I'll take you around the garden and show you the changes that I've made. And I think it looks a lot better now. Especially with a little bit of colour added to that bed. So before it starts raining quite heavily, let's have a look and talk you through what I've been doing. So the first change you can see is on the corner there. And I've just moved these plants from other parts of the garden. And that is a Pittosporum Bano Bay. And I love the colour on that with the leaves, a lovely purple. And I think it just adds a little bit of colour now into this bed. And just to the left of that, look at that plant there. Beautiful. That's a little Mahonia soft caress. And I had that down the other end of the garden and it wasn't doing too well there. So hopefully it'll perk up now So moving around the bed, tucked away, just in there are 2 ferns. So I've planted them so they'll get plenty of shade. And the ferns in this area of the garden seem to do quite well. So moving along now the other side of the bed so you can get a better view. And just to the right of there, you can see that I've added a few more grasses just around the outside. And this grass here is a white sands. And in the centre there now, I've taken this plant from down by the greenhouse. And this is a very small Photinia Carré Rouge. And that will have lovely red tips now. So it'll also add a little bit of colour to this area of the garden, especially next to that lime green grass there. So there's another one of the white sands. And just going down the path now, you would see the rhododendron now is just planted underneath the Trachycarpus Virginiae. So that'll have plenty of shade. So let's just hope now, fingers crossed, that it'll survive another transplant. So I have got it in ericaceous soil. So I'm hoping that that'll do much better there now with the protection of the plants above. Just look at the size now. Gone on those leaves there. That's looking really wonderful, that Trachycarpus. And that one is my favourite one in the garden. It's not the biggest, but it's definitely the greenest and the healthiest of them all. And when I was out in the garden today, I noticed, just look at that growth there. It's a bit early really to be having new growth on the Tetrapanax, but there's definitely growth coming there on the top. And there's also some areas on the Tetrapanax that aren't looking so good. And that area there is a little bit mushy. But hopefully now that'll recover. So the trouble is, even though it's been raining today, when you're working, you've got to go by what time that you've got, not what the weather is doing. So even though I've been in and out of the showers today, I've managed to get the planting that I wanted to do in and out of the way, ready for the next season. And definitely the first signs of spring are appearing, and we've got some tiny little daffodils that I planted out last year, and I'd forgotten that I planted these, but they've just come up now through the soil. So 2 grasses now have been added just in front of the rhododendron. And they just fill a gap there. And the grasses always seem to do well in this area. So the viburnum is now in the centre of the garden with its lovely white flowers. And behind that is the Sambucus Black Beauty. And that's just starting now with its new purple leaves coming out. So the viburnum Gwentlian that I planted about a week ago, that's really settled into its new spot. And there's some lovely flowers They are just coming to the end now, but I haven't trimmed anything off it. And that should grow into quite a large plant there now. So behind the greenhouse, you can see now that I've planted the Phormium Jester. And with that, I have trimmed up any of the straggly leaves. And this is a very sunny area of the garden here. So that should do really well. I know I've moved it around quite a bit lately, but let's hope now it's finally got its final place. And it should do well in the sun. And as I was walking around the garden, I can just see that behind that rhododendron has left me with a lovely little gap to fill. So I'm sure I'll find something to pop in there at a later date. Now in the triangular bed, I've planted out the little palm tree that I've got. So this area could do with a little bit of a tidy up. And just behind there you can see that I've popped in that plant, which I haven't got a clue what the name is, but I've just trimmed it back. So nothing gets thrown out in this garden. It all gets moved around and find new areas. That's the Euphorbia robii. And from one single stem that's really filled out. The Euphorbia honey pot, which I've got now in this bed here. That was moved a few weeks ago, and that's looking fine. And you can just see now that that area there is looking really good with the Yucca Rostrata in the centre. And while I was out in the garden today, I've had a little check of all of the bananas, and I'm glad to say that they're all doing fine with their yogurt pots on the top, because we've had so much rain lately, but they're all still standing firm. Wonderful news. And we've also got 3 bananas over this side, and the same with them. Let's hope that this year they'll be reaching record heights for us. But they're all doing really well. And I've even managed to find time to clean up some of my pots. So the rain now is really coming down in the garden, and it's time now, I think, to go inside and warm up a little bit. It is only 9 degrees today. So please remember to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next time in the garden. Bye for now.